Thank you for joining me in the News 6 studio tonight. You know, sometimes there's a story that just grabs your attention. I know for me and many of the people in this newsroom, it is not a Florida story that we're usually paying close attention to. This one is in Alabama, and it all came to a head tonight. So have you heard about these two? I'm sure you have. It's been everywhere. This is Casey White and Vicky White. Casey White is this big 6'9" prison inmate who was indicted for murder, and on her last day as a prison guard in Lauderdale County, Alabama, she was retiring the very next day. She was taking him to a court appearance. They both disappeared, and 11 days later, they were still out. So it all happened tonight. Police got a tip in Indiana, okay? And they found these two in a hotel. It turns into a high-speed chase. Casey White is driving. They wreck. They're in a Ford F-150. And at some point during the crash, Vicky White, the female former prison guard in this, they say died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. So it really comes to a crazy ending. So right now, Casey White has surrendered. That big guy right there. He is in jail. Vicky White died during the crash, again, of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. And so now this 11-day saga comes to an end as this woman who traded in her retirement, she sold her house, and then she was willing to risk it all for this inmate right here who is now back in jail. Just a crazy story. I appreciate you all joining me right now. Here is the sheriff from Lauderdale County, his reaction tonight.
You know, I had every bit of trust in Vicky White. She has been an exemplary employee. And what in the world provoked her or prompted her to pull a stunt like this, I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever know.
So that's her former boss there, who's just still trying to figure everything out 11 days later. So if you haven't heard the story, I mean, it is just mind-blowing. This woman was retiring. She had a house that most people say was worth about $200,000. She sold it as quickly as she could for cash for 95 grand. She took that, and she took this guy, was supposedly taking him to his court hearing, and they thought they were never going to be seen again, even though this guy is extremely recognizable. I'm talking a huge man. People at the jail say he has mental illness. He usually treats that with self-medication when he is outside of the prison system, oftentimes with methamphetamines. So not sure where they thought this was going to lead, but honestly, many folks, including myself, surprised that it took 11 days for them to be found in a hotel, again, in Indiana. And the folks saying it has been just an incredibly stressful week, that sheriff there. And puts it pretty well. Love is blind for sure. Barb is wanting them to find her phone and check those emails and those texts. I bet there's going to be some very interesting stuff going on in there. Has to be an awful time for her family, by the way, and strange time for his family, as they've been fielding lots of questions about this crazy saga been going on. Linda, yes, just a crazy story. You wonder, I wonder when I tell these stories on the news, how do people think this is going to turn out any other way than it did? But I thought 3 days max with this mountain of a man who really sticks out. He's got tattoos everywhere. Who knows? Vic saying, that's crazy. Yeah, it is. Larry, I agree with you. Never understood how any deputy or corrections officer gets involved with an inmate ever. It seems like a wild story. Nicole, yes, I agree. Becky, I'll watch it. I'm going to watch that movie when it comes out. Crazy story. Exactly, Tina. How did they think it was going to end? So, again, if you're just tuning in right now, Casey White, the guy on your screen, Vicky White, he has been captured. There was a nasty truck wreck in which he survived. Apparently, she did not. Somehow got shot by her own gun, according to police. That's a good question, Alexis. I don't know. I've got to look that up. I don't know if she had any kids in all this. It'd be a very strange, sad time for them. Pam says, you can run, but you can't hide. Kenny's saying, surprised they didn't go to Mexico. That is the other surprising thing about this. I thought for sure they would be really far away. 200 and not even 300 miles away is where they were caught, over in Indiana when they escaped from Alabama. That is pretty stunning to me. I would have thought they would have gotten as far away as possible, ditched the phones. Rosalie saying it is shocking. Netflix documentary. Yes, I will be watching that one. Stephanie saying, I'm so glad they were found, that didn't go on for years, but she is sorry she lost her life. Yeah. I mean, this guy, by many accounts, is a dangerous human being. In 2020, he's indicted for a 2020 murder. So, yeah, Alexa's saying she's surprised they made it 11 days. I'm with you there. Surprised it took so long to come to an end. Wow, the fact that she killed herself after is kind of crazy. I don't know. From the articles I'm reading, I'm not sure if she maybe had the gun out and then there was a violent wreck and she could have possibly shot herself, or maybe she did it in the midst. I don't know. Still very early. So, no, she is not alive, Stephanie. She died. She died at the hospital. James saying he doubts it was self-inflicted. We'll just have to wait and see. We'll have to get the answers to all this. So, okay, Shayna. So they have the same last name. This confused me as well. We're told there is no relation. They happen to have the same last name, and then they happen to spark some sort of relationship while they were in this Lauderdale County jail while she was a guard and he was an inmate. How that all happens, I don't know. They're going to have to cover that one in the Netflix documentary, but they do have the same last name. We are told that they're of no relation, like they met in this strange situation where he's in jail and she's a guard. Yes, how ridiculous. Law enforcement should not be involved with an inmate. Always a bad idea. Never going to end well. Good night, Doris. Thank you for watching. Appreciate you. And hey, from Long Island, we've got joining us tonight. So yeah, again, if you're just tuning in, she died. He is in custody, and I guess we're going to have to hear from him what they've been doing for the past 11 days. Must have been a crazy, crazy scene on the road and in that hotel room. They maybe thought they could weather the storm from a mere 200 miles away. It did not work. A tip got called in. They got busted in a hotel. And that little vacation is over and ended in a really, really terrible way. So thanks for watching tonight. I appreciate it. That is the latest update on the Casey and Vicky White saga as it comes to an end. Unfortunately, a pretty terrible end for Vicky White. Though she had to know that she was taking a pretty big chance with this whole situation. Casey White back in jail where, according to the sheriff, he belongs. Have yourself